couple of days ago I unboxed and built this bike from Tenways, and if you haven't seen that video you can find it on the eBike Nugs YouTube channel. But today you're going to join me on my very first, and I do mean literally very first ride on this bike. I haven't been on it before, but I've got the saddle adjusted, I've got the tyres pumped up, the battery's fully charged, I've got a new filming rig, so this Insta360 X3 camera is here on this pole, so you can join me as we cycle. Time to have a go. Oh man. Oh man. I will keep saying this on e-bike nugs. The biggest thing about e-bikes is that they are just fun. You want to ride them. Morning. Because the sheer joy of sitting on a bike, going exactly where you want to go, pulling away with minimal effort, is hard to overstate. It is incredibly freeing and liberating. Morning. You might remember me in that unboxing video talking about the fact that this is a hub motor rather than the mid-mounted motor that I'm used to. Mine in particular is from Bosch, which is seen as one of the better ones. And so I want to figure out how well it does with hills. There's a little incline here. Let's see how well it pulls up. Thank you. Not really a problem. Now my wife's bike is much more similar to this in style. It's one of these sort of more sit up and beg stances. And it has a motor, although it's mid-mounted, that feels more like it's pushing you along rather than the more natural feeling of the motor in mine. And so I wondered if I'd feel that here. Felt a little bit on the incline, just felt a little bit of a push. Morning. But generally, nope, it just feels natural. I'm dropping this edit in because I forgot to mention this when I was cycling before. Two things. One, I watched a brilliant video from Bikester where he was talking about things you don't need to simplify, things you don't need for your bike, simplifying your bike so that it's not as fussy and more direct for what you need. And one of the things he mentioned was suspension. He's saying if you're riding an urban bike on nice tarmac, you don't need suspension. And I think the point is really well made and well taken. I will say that having ridden a bike without suspension for 6 years, whenever I get on my wife's bike, which has both front fork suspension and suspension on the seat, it feels lovely. Because even on decent infrastructure, there are bumps and scrapes, but then when you hit infrastructure that is neglected, you really feel those. And I find myself weaving a little bit to avoid the worst of it. And so riding this, which has got front fork suspension, I like being able to absorb a little bit of that bumpiness as I'm cycling along. And the other thing that I didn't even notice is this bike has no gears. It has no gears. I understand vaguely the sort of physics of that, but it is very strange to be riding a bike without thinking about shifting up and down gears. At my right hand, where my gear selector would normally be, is an indicator switch for indicating left or right from the rear light, but I don't have any way of shifting gears up and down. I think it's fine. I don't think I miss it. And one thing I will say is that on my bike, which is an 8-speed gear selector, I only ever use 5, 6, 7, 8. To the extent that actually the bike doesn't like going below the 5th gear now. I've got to really push at it for it to actually go underneath it. So that, as with the way I ride e-bikes, it's not really about performance or speed or anything like that, it's just about getting from A to B. And so there's something quite nice about this relatively stately, elegant, I'm not suggesting I'm elegant, but something about the experience is quite elegant, the experience of riding without gears. Do I like it? I don't know. Anyway, back to the original video. Now, you might remember me talking about the fact that this is a torque sensor rather than a cadence sensor. What that means is rather than having to wait for revolutions of the wheel to be able to sense how fast you're going and infer how fast you want to go, the sensor in the cranks where the pedals join the bike are sensing how much force you're applying and then multiplying that for you. The power is set to maximum just now, but again, once you're actually running, you don't actually feel that much power coming from the motor, but it's that getting you away from a stop that makes you feel like Superman. Alright, look, there's going to be lots more videos on e-bike nugs about this bike, but about e-biking in general. So if you like what you've seen, thank you. Please do like and subscribe. I'll see you out on the road.